Yes, I am. Thank you for
Very
giving me
good.
the opportunity. Yeah, and sorry for not being there in person. Still a pleasure to present to you here today. So my name is Carsten Brinkschulte. I'm co-founder and CEO of Dryad Networks. And as our tagline says, we're about connecting the natural world. And our key application of what we're doing is actually ultra-early detection of wildfires. Next slide, please. The problem that we are addressing as an impact for profit is wildfires, as in the initial application. And wildfires, it struck me when we started Dryad, are causing up to 20% of global CO2 emissions. That's about 6 to 8 billion tons of CO2 emissions worldwide each year. And us as humans are responsible for starting 80% of those wildfires. There's also a huge impact on biodiversity with more than 3 billion animals being killed. And at the same time, a financial impact of more than $140 billion and 10 billion of that into the insurance industry. So there's also a huge financial and business opportunity to be made. Next slide, please. Now, obviously, wildfires are a big issue, and we're not the only company, thankfully, working on those. Other solutions are in place already or being developed. Satellites looking down from space to detect wildfires, cameras overlooking the forest, looking out for smoke plumes rising above the tree canopy. And all of these solutions make sense and help to prevent wildfires or track them once they have started. But what we want to do with Dryad is focus on the early stages. We call that ultra early detection of wildfires before there is even an open flame. After 10, 15, 20 minutes after someone throws a cigarette out of a driving truck, we would like to ring the alarm bells and give the firefighters the essential time, the critical time advantage to put out a fire while it's still in its infancy. Next slide, please. We do this with an end-to-end solution. We've developed a solar-powered gas sensor that actually is installed under the tree canopy, attached about 3 meters height at the tree stem. It's solar-powered, uses supercapacitors for energy storage, and a gas sensor to actually detect hydrogen, carbon dioxide, and other volatile organic compounds to detect fires at the smoldering phase before there is even an open fire available and before it can be visibly seen from camera systems. Now, the problem in the forest is it's the worst possible environment for telecommunications because it's full of water and that absorbs radio waves. So we've created this other smaller product, a bit larger than the other one. It's actually the network infrastructure that we place into the forest, enabling the sensors to communicate with an area of about 2 kilometers bubble each, going mesh by mesh by mesh, bubble by bubble, deeper into the forest, enabling really large scale deployment of our system. And then we, of course, also have a cloud-based application where we collect all of the data, where we process information, and then where we send out alerts in case we do detect a fire. Next slide, please. Now, this mesh scale network, we're quite proud of. My background is telecoms, and I guess you can see this because we like these network diagrams that look very complicated, make us look intelligent. But really what we do is we enable telecommunications, IoT telecommunications in the forest, and we do this with an impact for purpose. For profit. So we basically are a company that wants to make money from this, and we have a business model. We're selling the solutions at about $50 a sensor, which is, we think, acceptable, and we make good profit from it. But we, of course, can prevent wildfires with this at the large scale with a ground-based IoT network system. Next slide, please. Now, obviously, the impact and potential of Dryad, I think, is clear. We can protect assets, prevent financial damages. We dramatically reduce the cost of firefighting. We reduce insurance payments and save human and wildlife. But now that we have a network infrastructure, we can do many, many more applications. And I've listed here a few that will help to protect and maintain forests over time. Next slide. Now, we are aiming for profitability in 2024 based on our business model to sell the solution and a subscription fee for accessing the cloud platform. We're selling to private and public forest owners, as well as to utility companies that need to prevent wildfires from the power lines that when vegetation grows into them. Insurance, of course, plays a big role, but it's not directly our customer. Next slide. Now we're doing a fundraising right now. We've raised 3.4 million so far, and we're doing an 8 to 10 million euro Series A. 2 million or 1.8 have been committed. The main investment will be in marketing, sales, and building the sales force and supply chain organization to actually scale this business on a global basis. Next slide. We are an impact for profit, and we try to measure our targets. We are projecting that by 2030, we'll have 30 million sensors installed, preventing 1.4 million hectares of forest from burning, and that would equate to about 600 million tons of CO2 emissions from prevented. Thank you. Next slide. And that's it from my side. Thank you very much for giving the opportunity to present Dryad.
Thank you very much, Carsten. I'd like to ask Charlotte now to present the Forest Conservation Fund.